This program is brought to you by Trustable Christenings, the most pleasant way to undergo the fearful ordeal of changing your name. We offer a wide range of respectable names that produce vibrations, such as Earnest, Earnest, and Earnest.
Welcome to The Love Game, a show dedicated to matching soulmates. Our most renowned successes include Henry VIII and the Bologna sisters, Tiger Woods and Miss December 13, and Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Now, let's meet today's bachelor, Algernon Moncrief. He resides in a luxuriously and aristocratically furnished flat on Half Moon Street. Mr. Moncrief prides himself on having the answers to even the toughest mother's inquiries. His occupations include smoking, indulging in every modern delicacy, especially muffins, going out on the town to the theater, the club, and the Empire. He plays the piano, not accurately, but with wonderful expression. Sentiment is his forte. Mr. Moncrief is longing for the uncertainty of romance with his ideal woman, who is intriguing and certainly not plain, and who also knows her place in society and in the home.
And now let's meet our three lovely ladies. Lady number 1, Miss Egeria Prism.
Excuse me, my name is Letitia.
Lady number 2, Miss Gwendolyn Bracknell. And lady number 3, Miss Cecily Cardew. And now let's play the love game.
It is one of my particular pleasures to have company over, and when you do, one knows you have to have refreshments, and particularly good refreshments, and my favorites are cucumber sandwiches, and muffins, and bread and butter, and cake, and, good food. So if you were to have company over, what would you serve as refreshments?
I like to attract the religious crowd, so I would serve bread and wine, and perhaps a few multiplying fish.
I would offer them a choice of cake, muffins, or bread and butter. I would also offer tea with or without sugar.
I would offer only bread and butter because cake is rarely seen at the best houses nowadays. And plain tea for my guests because sugar is not fashionable anymore.
Good looks are a snare that every sensible man would like to be caught up in. Describe yourself in as much vivid detail as possible.
Well, I've always said that men mustn't say such things about women, as I myself am quite uninterested in looks, as my superior knowledge and extraordinary knack for education puts me above the rest already. I find myself quite plain, but my personality more than makes up for it.
Well, I am most fond of being looked at, as I am told so very often how beautiful I am. I hate to look plain, so I avoid my German lessons at all costs, because I know perfectly well how plain I look afterwards. However, I am often told that my profile has distinct social possibilities, and I always wear my chin very high, as style depends on it.
I consider my good looks an added benefit to my already distinct social status. Mama has always said that my looks are a prize that only men of the upper class are worthy of.
I need more muffins. Producers. Thank you. Well, if I'm a little overdressed, I make up with it for being highly overeducated. Can you please describe your views on education, your own personal education yourself?
Mama, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short-sighted.
I have lessons every day, but I don't pay attention to them at all. I especially dislike German. It isn't at all a becoming language, as I mentioned previously.
I consider myself to be fairly educated. In fact, I wrote a manuscript which unfortunately was abandoned. However, I am in the process of writing a new one.
In today's society, everyone knows that one of the first things you ask people is about their family background and social status. I myself am particularly well known throughout the London area and all the surrounding areas as well. I'm frequently seen at the club and the museums and the theatre, making sure everyone in town knows who I am and about my social status. I'm also well known throughout the philanthropist because of my work with my poor invalid friend Mr. Bunbury. Can you please describe your social status? In detail, of course.
I am the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of various estates. My family solicitors are Markby, and Markby. I've about £130,000 in the funds. I'm admired everywhere I go for my witty nature and extreme beauty. I am never seen in poor company, as my status is very important to me and I protect it at all costs. I'm really only 18, but I always know to 20 when I go out to evening parties.
I believe my education is crucial to my social background, and as it is so developed, I am of great social status. I'm rarely seen without my manuscript, which I keep as my constant companion. I do not often go out to the club or theatre, but prefer to spend my time in the vestry.
I'm the daughter of the esteemed Lord and Lady Bracknell, of whom I'm sure you have heard. We live, as I hope you know, in an age of ideals. That very fact is constantly mentioned in the most expensive monthly magazines, and has reached the provincial pulpits. My ideals are strictly proper, as I was brought up dutifully by my mother, Lady Bracknell. I have read that all women become like their mothers, and I must admit to this to be my very goal. To be as well known and short-sighted as my mother would be the utmost honor.
I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. It is very romantic to be in love, but there is nothing romantic about a definite proposal. Why, one may be accepted, and one usually is, but then the excitement's all over. The very essence of romance is uncertainty. If I ever get married, I'll be sure certainly to forget the fact. As we all know, divorces are made in heaven. What are your personal views on marriage and romance?
I believe that marriage is a sacred vow that reflects two people's love. However, if for certain circumstances those two people are unable to get married, I am not against secret meetings in the confessional.
Well, I eagerly look forward to my marriage, as any young, fashionable lady of our time should.
Well, I plan on getting married numerous times, so it's just not as big of a commitment as it is to others.
I think Algernon is a rather aristocratic name, and if my name were Algernon, could you love me?
Well, I might respect you, I might admire your character, but I feel I should not be able to give you my undivided attention, because it has always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Earnest.
Personally, I prefer the name Frederick Chasuble. It is the only suitable name for a real man.
No, there is very little music in the name Algernon, if any at all. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations. I pity any woman who is married to a man called Algie. She would probably never be allowed to know the entrancing pleasure of a single moment's solitude. The only real safe name is Earnest. It is a divine name. It has a music of its own. It produces vibration.
Well, I'm sure after all these questions you fine and mostly young, lovely ladies are wanting to know who I am. Well, it is I, Algernon Moncrief, and after careful consideration of your answers, which I believe reveal your most deepest character, I've decided on the one that I believe is the most earnest, and that woman is Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, please join me in our pleasant life.
Really? Me? It doesn't matter anyways. You're not wholly some enough for me. Get it?
Sugar and tea and muffins.
God! Sister! Cecily, a pleasant life awaits.
Oh, Algie, I am so pleased you chose me. I always knew we'd be together.
Of course, darling.
See, if only your name was Earnest, everything would be just as I thought it would be. You see, I knew we would be together.
You did?
Of course I did. See, here. Look, right there.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, yes.
Well, you know, now I will get christened and then we can go and get married by Mr. Chasuble.
Oh, Algie, you're so wonderful. Does your hair grow naturally?
Of course, darling, just like my love for you.
Oh, darling.
Darling!
Play a love game, play a love game. Do you want love or you want fame? Are you in that game? No, the love game.
Lady number 1, Miss Igeria, Igeria?
Never works.
I can't do this! This is why I'm not, okay, ready? We're going, I'm not even gonna stop recording. Okay, ready?
I would only... Damn? I would offer only...
Why do you go?
It's one sentence.
Go. Go.
Get a little sassy.
Go!
Guys, it wasn't funny. Come on.
You're not gonna be able to hear this. You have to hold on. Stop.
together. You see, it's always been that way.
It has.
It has, of course. You see, here in my diary.